There was this girl called Mary, and her lived in a place called Nazareth. One day her mum went out and her was left to do the housework. All of a sudden, the room went all bright, and when I turned round, I saw somebody standing by the window. I were half surprised and I nearly fell off a chair. Yow! Yow, day off, give me a turn. Don't be scared, answered the bloke. I won't hurt you. My name's Gabriel and I'm an angel. Yow, I am, yeah, said Mary. I am, he replied, and I've come to tell you something. What? Said Mary, because I was thinking what a carry on this was. You're going to have a baby, said the angel. That shook her, and I looked at him and said, "Oh, he's a soft I married." That don't make no difference, he answered. If God says you'll have a baby, you'll have one. So I'll be done with. That's it, you've got to call him Jesus. Mary was still a bit shook. So the angel said, "And I'll tell you something else. You ain't the only one who's going to have a baby. Your cousin Elizabeth's going to have one and all, and there's an old woman." "Well, if you say so, I suppose that's it," said Mary. "I can't do nothing about it, but my chap won't be surprised." When he'd gone, Mary sat for a bit and thought about it. Then I made up her mind to go and see Elizabeth, so I had a quick swill and I went off to Judah. When I got there, Elizabeth saw her waiting at the gate and I said, "Well, Mary, I am glad to see you, but fancy you coming to see me in your state." Mary answered, "Well, this angel come and said to me I'm going to have a baby in December." They went into the house as Elizabeth made a cup of tea. You're not recording this.
That'll be twice as good now you said that.
It's Mary, that's an old man Zacharias, I believe, when I told him about the baby, and I was speechless. "He can't speak a word now," I said. The chap what Mary was engaged to was called Joseph, and when Mary told him about the baby he was having, he didn't know what to think. He said, "Your mum will half kick up a chair at our house, round to blame me, and now will half rattle down our street. It ain't good enough." Any road, he did get his hair off, and when he went to bed that night, an angel come into him to a dream. "Don't you get mad at Mary about that baby," he told him. "It's God's son you're having, and his name's Jesus. Somebody's got to have him or he'll get born. And you and Mary was picked. So you just marry her, me mate, and there ain't nothing to worry about." Soon after they was married, Joseph come in and told Mary, "Aye, I've had a letter from the Toxman, and that Caesar man says as we've got to do to where we was born to be taxed. So we've got to traipse all the way to Bethlehem next week." So Mary cut some sandwiches and I packed a few cakes and apples, and then I made a bottle of tea and the thermoses, and when they'd had a breakfast, Joseph got the donkey out, put Mary on, and away they went. "Cheer up, our kiddie tie for now," Joseph told her. "You can see them lamps in Bethlehem down the road. We'll soon have a rest. I sure be sorry neither. I'll keep getting bricks and sand in my sandals." When they got into town, Joseph knocked on the door of an inn and asked for a double room. The bloke what answered says, "I can't help you. There's that many of 'em in here, they're having to sleep in the passage." The next one was like it no, but Joseph said to the chap, "Ain't there anywhere we can go? My missus is out there on a donkey and is going to have a baby soon." The chap scratched his head. Then he had an idea and he said, "We've cleaned the stable out after the tea and it ain't mucky, and if I shift a couple of horses and a camel, you can keep down there." Joseph didn't even bother to ask Mary. He said, "We'll take it." Straight away. In the night, Mary woke Joseph and he said, "Hey, the baby's here." So Jesus was born and they wrapped him up tight and put him in the manger what the horses ate out on. Mary and Joseph were half proud. The innkeeper come with his missus and brought Mary some hot milk. They thought Jesus was a Boston little lad, and the innkeeper said to Joseph, "You'd better come and have a drink to wet his head." So he did. The innkeeper's wife told them all, "There's a woman out there and has just had a baby," I said, "and if only you lot kick up a racket, you'll out." Up in the hills, there were some shepherds looking after the sheep. It was so cold, so they were sitting by the fire, letting the dogs do the work, and they was having something to eat and a smoke. Suddenly the sky lit up like bonfire night, and an angel come. They don't know about angels, and they was that frightened, and they all fell on the ground. "You most silly lot," said the angel. "I sure hate you. I got a message for you. There's a baby been born in Bethlehem. His name is Jesus, and he's God's son. Go and have a look at him. He's in a stable lying in a manger." The shepherds come down the hill in Bethlehem and they kept on about the angels. One said, "Fancy angels coming to see we. We ain't nobody. It's as if we're important." Another agreed and said, it wore off a good tune what they sung, but I can't remember the words, can you? Somewhat about the glory and God of the highest, said his mate. When we get back, we'll try and get it writ down between we. They must have it or we wouldn't know it. Any road up, they come into the town. One of them said, it's all right. I'm saying we find the babby in the stable, but they're all over the place. We could be looking for weeks. His friend snapped at him. Why don't you shut your moaning? Us two will look this side and you pair look the other. And another said, it ain't much use looking in stables when I'm shut, and if there's a new babby, they'll have the light on. When they heard the mates whistle and they found him inside a stable built in a cave, someone whispered, don't make such a clatter, we're here. One knocked on the door and Mary called, come in. They took off their hats and went in on tiptoe. The chief shepherd said, adieu, missus, have you come to see the babby? Mary smiled and beckoned them in. Joseph says, here he is, come and look, but mind you don't breathe on his face. The shepherds knelt down round the manger and looked. Oh, ain't he tiny, said one of them. And how you got little ons? Course he's tiny, you soft airputh, said the leader. He's new, he? I know that, said the other one, but you can't imagine God being little, can you? Mary smiled and said, I'll spin some wool and knit him a jumper and his dad'll play the flute to take him to sleep. The shepherds turned to go and little Jesus smiled, and the leader said after, as it was wind and all babbies did it, but he wore sure as he made out. While all this was a-going on, there was 3 wise kings in a country far away looking at the stars. Suddenly one of them put down his telescope and called, come here, you lot, I've found a star right war there before, and it ain't half a big un. Yeah, I'm right, mate, they said, and they looked. I bet it's that one wants to tell us a new king's been born. Checked it up and it was. One day they come to Jerusalem and went to the palace and knocked on the door, and a sentry opened it and they asked, is the king in? And the sentry said, half a mo, I'll go and see. The king's name was Herod, and he was in. There's 3 kings to see you, the soldier told him. Oh, said Herod, where? He had a fit when the soldier told him outside. You call 3 kings standing on the steps, said Herod. Fetch 'em in. So they all come in, and Herod said, how nice to see him, what you could see him do for him. And they was looking for a new king, and wondered if he was here. Herod says, he ain't here, but when you've found him, come in here and on the way back, so I can go and have a look at him myself. They said, righto, and off they went. When they'd gone, Herod said to himself, there's only one room for one king here at Oymit. When I know where that new one is, I'll have him killed. The star stopped over the house where Jesus was, and the king's day would because it wore a palace. They went in and they knelt down by Jesus and gave him their gold, frankincense and myrrh. Mary looked at the presents and said, thank you, them smashing, but I'll keep them till he's a bit bigger, if you don't mind. The kings took off their crowns and bowed, and they all says, ta-ra a bit, and they all went back home. But they go past Herod's palace, cause an angel had told them what an awful bloke Herod was, and how he wanted to kill the little Jesus.
Oh, brilliant,